Hope you're doing well today. Have a good day. Happy afternoon. Good afternoon to all of you guys.
Hello, hello.
So I have Chris on the call with me as well, and hopefully you can hear Chris. Uh,
Can everybody hear me in the internet lands?
in the past, I know we've had issues with people being able to hear Chris, so hopefully we've solved that issue. But okay,
Cool.
all
Thanks.
right. Looks like we're good. Okay, so today there's several things on kind of the agenda we want to talk about. I tweeted out some of those and we've shared some of those, but just kind of give everybody a quick recap. We're going to be talking about Track IR, the implementation of Track IR we have in the game, and also there's kind of a face tracking software solution as well for if somebody has like a webcam. And prone support for the player, the new player model, and we'll show you that in detail here in a minute. And I want to talk a little bit about the new city, and I'll show you a picture of the police station. I'll walk through the police station and show you how detailed it is. And the police station is just one of the many buildings that will be in the large city. And then the new relevant system, and a subpart of that is the item system slash item storage. Uh, the relevant system is a big piece. It kind of encompasses a lot of stuff, and I'll go into detail on that. For that, there will be some slides with numbers. So if you have a phobia of numbers, I apologize, but I'll go through it quick. I just want to explain why we are needing to change the current system and why it isn't working well. Then I'll talk a little bit about the AI solution, and I'll show you a little bit of the Battle Royale map as well. And in addition to that, I have a lot of questions that people have posted both on Facebook and on our forums that Chris has put together in a document for me. So towards the end, I'll go through and start answering a lot of questions as well. But if you have questions in the meantime, feel free to tweet those to our Miscreated game account or hashtag Miscreated PR, I think Chris said. But anyway, just send them to us somehow, and we'll have somebody kind of gather those as we're going through the stream as well. We'll try to get all those answered towards the end. All right. So to start off with, I want to show you the new player model to start with here. So we've been talking about the new player model for quite a while, and it's kind of been one of those things we've been working on, like I said, for quite some time. But it isn't a matter of just getting the model. In addition to the model, you also have to have all the animations that work on the new model because it's slightly different. And in addition to that, then all the current clothing options we have to make sure they work on the model because the proportions are slightly different than the current player model. And so what you'll see in a couple of the updates coming up is some of the clothing options that we don't like or they don't look very good, we'll probably replace those completely. For example, the puffy jacket, if you know what the puffy jacket model is. It's kind of a low detailed and it just doesn't look very good and doesn't fit the player very well. And that one will probably be completely replaced. We'll just junk that one and get a new model in. So let me show you this. So this is a little scene that Marco set up, and so this is our current player right now, and it's going to go through, and I think it takes about a minute, minute and a half to go through his little scene he's made. So this is the current player. And is this working, Marco? I hope it's working here. This is all the current players, so we may have a technical issue.
Some nice slow motion,
There's the new
sexy
one. There
shots.
we go. All right. So he was just showing the current one there. So this is the new player model, the new male model that'll be coming in. This one is actually it's kind of a mixture of a real 3D scan with some kind of hand painted parts on it to kind of touch it up. But the proportions and everything are based on real scans of a real person as well. And one thing you'll notice also is he does have hair and he does have a beard. So we will be adding hairstyles and beards to the game as well. I'm not sure on the timing of that, whether we'll do that right at the start or not. Uh, but here he is, the bald version essentially. kind of give you a little bit more detail here up close of what he looks like. Now, I know some people are going to ask about a female model. That's kind of a given. We're definitely going to do a female model, but there just isn't an estimate yet. I know a lot of people really want a female model as well, so I apologize. We're just not quite ready to do another model yet, but we will definitely be adding a female model to the game. So just some more comparison shots here.
And some of those hair textures, I think, are still a little work in progress.
Yeah, yeah.
Same with some of the hairstyles and stuff like that too. We'll have a few different ones eventually, but I think the beard and the actual hairstyle is still being a little touched up a little bit. The hair needs to be a little better.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go through and adjust them. This is our kind of our first try, essentially, of doing hair and beards on a character in the game. And so we'll work on getting those so they look a little bit better as well over time. So that's the current player that will be coming in the game. I don't have an estimate for you yet, but the main reason for that is he is animated. He does work in the game. Some of the animations, though, we're going to have to slightly adjust because the proportions are a little bit different, as I mentioned. But the big thing is all the clothing. We have to obviously have clothing for him to wear, unless you want to run around in undies the whole time. But so all the current clothing in the game, and there's a lot of clothing, we have to make sure that the clothing fits on the player as well. Some of the clothing, the model has to be adjusted and to work. So we'll add him as soon as we can, but there's a lot of work for the animators to do to get all the clothing in the game. So here's the next part I want to show you. So this is one of the buildings that will be going in the city. This is the police department. And I sent out a tweet a few minutes ago with this image as kind of a little teaser. So if somebody saw that a few minutes earlier, they were paying attention. So this is the police department. Before I go inside, though, I want to show you the track IR system. And for the track IR, I have a couple weapons here on the ground as well for this. So let me do my little overlay here. All right, so you should be seeing the track IR on the upper right hand side of the stream. So this is their little display window. So as I'm moving my head, you can see the graphs move there on the track IR. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now when I'm going in game, I'm looking down. So all I'm doing is tilting my head now. So this is the track IR system in the game. I'm looking to the side. And you can even tilt your head if you want for the really funky experience. So it's kind of giving you a quick demo of the way the track IR works in the game. And then it also, let me get a couple of weapons here. And even when you're aiming, you can look around with the track IR system if you really want to. A couple little clipping issues there, but that's fine. So yeah, you can. It's kind of all independent. So the camera is all independent on the track IR now. So you kind of do whatever you want. So it's a pretty verbose system, pretty comprehensive system that Hendrik, our programmer, added for this, and it works really well. You can you kind of look all over as much as you want. So I'm going to turn the track IR off. I'll take some questions at the very end on track IR if anybody has any track IR specific questions, or I can give a little bit more of a demo at the end. But there's also some free versions that are more, they do webcam and they track your face movement. They're not as precise as the track IR system is. But if you have a webcam, you can also use the face tracking system. So when this is released, then you can use the track IR, which is the professional system essentially, or you can use more of software-based face tracking system if you want to go that way as well. So I'm going to go ahead and disable my track IR for now, because it does make it a little bit harder to do some of the stuff. Okay. The next thing I want to show is prone. So everybody knows we have the crouch in the game, and so we've been working on the prone. And the prone is something we've been working on. We started on the prone system, it's probably been at least a year, and we showed some demos of it quite a while ago, but right after that, we went back and we redid our whole animation system in the game, so it's a lot smoother. And so now we're finally back to the point of working on the prone system in the game.
Actually,
And
the track IR display is still up, the overlay.
good point. Let me turn that off. Thank you. Okay. So this is the
There we
prone in
go.
the game. And switching weapons as well. So prone will be coming in. I'm not sure on the time frame. I'm hoping that we can get in the next. I don't know if it'll be in the next patch, but maybe the one after that. We just have to make sure that it's working well. And in addition to, we just have to work out little bugs and kinks in the game and so on, dealing with prone. We have to make sure all the weapons work right, and you can aim right, and you can move right, and all the little things you'd expect from a track, from a prone system. And also, need to make sure that the players can't do stuff like stick their head through walls and so on with a prone system. So there's a little bit we have to do there, but it's coming along nicely. So that will be coming in soon as well. The nice thing about prone is that it definitely adds a more tactical feeling to the game because, especially with how dense our vegetation is, you'll have a lot of vegetation to hide in as well, which will add a little bit more to the game. All right, so the police station. I'm gonna walk through the police station, and I've only went through this building once so far, so I'm not familiar with it at all. So we're kind of going through this as well together.
Let's get lost.
Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to kind of wander around in it, and then if you guys have questions, feel free to add the questions, and we'll post about them at the end. But I want to mainly just show, one is the size of the building, and the other one's the amount of detail in the building. So I'm just going to spend probably like a minute or so just kind of running through here. So some of these rooms don't look like they're quite ready. Okay. But it's a pretty big building as well. Let's see here. I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm just gonna kind of randomly run around for a minute here. Jail cells. I didn't even see these earlier when I was in here, so definitely need to make these functional for people that want to roleplay. Okay, let's see here. Kind of an intake area. More rooms, cables, ceiling, cables on the floor. All right. Some global illumination you can see kicking in there, lighting up everything. All right, I think this is the way I came in. I know there's a lot more to this. I don't know where the stairs are, unfortunately. I think they're maybe down here. I do know there's stairs to other levels. Well, I apologize. Graham's the one that made this. I don't know where the stairs are. Oh, there's some stairs. Okay, we're in business.
Is there a sign that says stairs?
There may have been. I probably missed it, though. More rooms. More stuff. Anyway, I just want to kind of give you an overall feeling of how big the building is and how detailed it is. That was kind of the main point of this. All right. And we have a break room. Okay. All right.
That's fun. And this will be a police area too, so obviously it's a police station, but you have weapons and stuff in there, so I can imagine a lot of tense battles. Looks fun.
Yeah, it'll definitely start adding more character to the game when we start getting more unique buildings. Some people have asked about in the past of adding different styles of buildings, and up until now we've been kind of adding buildings that are generic. A lot of houses, stores, stuff like that we can reuse in several different places on the map, and we use a lot just because it is a huge world. So you have to reuse assets. You can't do everything as a custom asset. And now we're kind of the point where we'll start adding more unique buildings, and you'll see that a lot with the big city. There's a lot of different size buildings in bigger cities. All right. I'm seeing a couple of questions in chat. Hopefully somebody is collecting those, or maybe some of the people on the team are answering those as well. But I'll go through a whole bunch of questions towards the end also. I have a huge list, and we can just kind of add to that list as we're going on. All right.
Yeah, if you guys make sure to put the at Miscreated when you ask the question, so it shows up and we can see him a little better if you're in Twitch chat.
Yeah. Okay. Next thing I want to do is talk about the whole relevant system, the item system, the storage system in the game. And in order to do that, I'm going to, like I said, I have it on a couple of slides, and I'm going to go through the slides as fast as I can because I don't want this to be boring, but it's also important to kind of understand what's really going on and why we can't just throw in base storage. So, like I said, I'm going to go through this pretty quick here. So currently the issue with the networking system is we're using the default CryEngine networking system. And because of that, it just doesn't scale really well. It's meant more for small multiplayer style games. And in the diagram on the right, which I think should be showing up there, what
Yep.
essentially happens today in CryEngine is every player sends data to every other player. And as you can tell by all the lines, there's a lot of data that's going back and forth between all the players. And realistically, what's really happening here is you have a server that's sitting in the middle. And so all the data from a player goes to a server, and then it gets sent out to all the other players. But it ends up with a lot of data that gets sent all over the place. And as you add more and more players, then this gets more and more dense, is really what's going on here. And this is where the numbers come into evolved. I'm going to go, like I said, I'm just going to skip through this really fast. But the important thing here really is for each connection in the game, there's about 8,000 bits per second that get sent. And the issue is that for every time you double the number of players, then the amount of bandwidth the server needs quadruples. So this red line is kind of the important one. So for the 32-player server right now, you're looking at about 8 megabits per second is what the server needs to process in bandwidth. Now, if you were to go up double the number of players, then that goes up to 32 megabit connection. 128 players, you're up at 124 megabits per second that has to go through the server and process. And 256 is up to 500 megabits per second the server's processing. So this is where we're at today, is this red kind of happy medium. We've tried to bump this up a little bit on the player count, but the problem is the bandwidth, and all of it's going through the server, and just gets to be kind of way out of hand. It's just, up in the range of, past, even close to 64 players, it just gets to be a lot of bandwidth that the server has to handle with all the information going to all the players. So I've talked a lot about this relevant system. And essentially what the relevant system does is only transmits data that's relevant to each player. So if you're in the game playing, then you're only aware of stuff that's within a certain radius around you. And there's several different types of objects in the game. There's vehicles, players, AI, items, player corpses, player bases. And all those kind of have a different distance that they're relevant to you as you're running around the map in the new system. And all these have different distances, and we can actually change it per object. For example, like when those green gas cans, we can make those be visible a little bit further away than, for example, like a smaller magazine that's dropped on the ground. So we can adjust it all based on item as well if we want to. So essentially what's going on is, imagine there's like 3 groups playing in a game today. There's group 1 over here, group 2, and group 3 that are playing the game. Ideally, group 1 only needs to know about what's going on at group 1's around group 1. And group 2 over here is far away, like the other side of the map or in another town. These two don't even need to be aware that they're in the game together at this point. And the same with group 3, because they're all so far away. So what happens with the new relevant system is group 1's only getting updates, and the only thing to them, as far as they know, that exists in the game is just these 4 players. They don't even know that this even exists on the server at all. They haven't been told that the player exists, or the loot around this player even exists, and so on. So the advantage of this relevant system is it cuts down on the bandwidth and the server processing immensely. So what's happening in this case, in the last slide, there was 1 player, and there were 3 players together, and 4 players. So their bandwidth is kind of separated out. So with the new system in this case, it's sending 144,000 bits per second with the relevant system. The old system would have used 450,000 bits. So it's about a quarter of the bandwidth already just on the bandwidth. So, like I said, there's a lot of numbers, so I just want to go through. But that's kind of the problem today is with the default system. If you're on one corner of the map and you have a player clear on the other corner of the map, then while you're playing the game, you're getting updates on that player clear on their side of the map every 30 times a second. You're getting updates about that player, and if he has AI around him, you're getting updates based on the AI that's chasing him. And if there's items spying in on the map around the other player, then you're getting updates from him as well. And but for you as a player, you don't care about any of that because it's so far away you can't see him. So that's kind of the issue today is there's just a lot of unnecessary bandwidth that's going on. So with the relevant system, what it really means to you guys as players is it really reduces the bandwidth the server needs, which will make it a lot more efficient. It's processing the information a lot more efficiently now. And the login times are a lot faster. It takes about 3 seconds to synchronize now when you log into the game, where now it can be up to a minute or 2 minutes when you log in. So the login times will help a lot with the synchronizing world state phase, that last phase. So with the new system, we can increase the player counts. And as I mentioned here, we're going to do as much of this as we can. So I'm not going to guarantee we're going to do all this, but we'll do as much as we can. But we can have higher player counts. We can have more items in the game. We can have more AI in the game. And additionally, we can have AI that actually has loot in the game, so there's a reason to kill the AI as well. We can add more storage items in the game, and this includes base storage. Larger bases. Right now, I know some people hit the limit of the base size, so we can increase the base sizes as well. Crafted weapons, where you can make weapons, based on different parts that you combine together. So think something almost like Fallout 4 system here. And then also more weapon and vehicle attachments as well. So there's a lot of stuff that we'll start adding once the relevant system is ready. So these are just all things we're going to be working on here really shortly. So the relevant system, we're going to push it out to the experimental server here really soon. We've had some people testing it, and I know of 2 issues that need to be looked at. And once those have been looked at, then we'll push that out and let people start getting on the experimental server and testing it. And we'll definitely announce this on Twitter. So if you don't follow us on Twitter, please go and follow Miscreated Game on Twitter. And we'll let you guys know as soon as possible. So when people are asking about item storage in the game, they're like, well, why don't you add item storage? Item storage is just a small part of this massive system that's being put into place right now. And we can't just add items nonstop because of the way the current bandwidth works in the game and sending data to all the players at the same time and so on. But with the new system, we can definitely add a lot of that stuff. All right. So that was kind of my slide presentation. I apologize, but I wanted to give kind of a little background there as to what's going on with that as well. All right. So a couple other things I want to talk about now is I'm going to switch back to just the game screen here. So the AI in the game. So we have a company that it's actually an AI company. That's all they do is AI development work that has been working on the AI system in the game. And I got an update from them yesterday. And their new system is already looking a lot faster than our current system. And what they're working on right now is, so one of the changes you'll see is right now on our map, and let me kind of zoom out here just for fun. So right now on our map, if this is so imagine this is our whole player area of our current map. We only have like small, a little teeny fraction of the 8 kilometer by 8 kilometer that actually has AI in it today. And the reason for that is the AI system it's just, it wasn't made for an open world game. I hesitate to say it isn't efficient. It was designed for smaller games and, crisis style games with AI, but it just wasn't developed and designed for a massive game like ours. So this new system, what you'll see right away is that we can have AI everywhere on the map. So it won't be just right around cities. We'll have AI everywhere in the forests, in the towns, everywhere. So that's one of the advantages you'll see right away is, we'll have AI that will be everywhere. And right now we kind of have these hidden zones on the map that some people have realized, like, a lot of AI won't chase you across a bridge. And the reason for that is because there's one AI zone on one side of the bridge and one AI zone on the other side of the bridge, and they don't go between AI zones. But with the new system, it's just one massive zone. The whole world is just all one zone. So AI if we wanted to, the AI could chase you from the west coast of the map clear to the east coast of the map if we wanted to do that now with the new system. And the AI is also a lot more efficient, so we can have more AI in the game, more mutants in the game, more deer in the game. And I know there's some questions people have asked about AI in general, and I'll answer some of those towards the end. But it will allow us to have different types of AI in the game, different behaviors of AI in the game, different animals in the game, and the AI company is working on also making the current AI a little bit smarter and act more realistically already instead of just kind of this dumb almost right now they're almost like this dumb zombie behavior where they just kind of follow you around and attack you and there really isn't much smarts to them. And so this will be changing a lot uh, on the AI front. Hey Chris, are you writing down the questions people are asking?
Yeah, I'm actually sending them to your Skype so you can look at them.
Perfect. Okay. So yeah, go ahead and keep putting the questions in, guys, and then I'll go through and answer a lot of these questions towards the end for people who want to get some more information concerning these. So we're actually really excited as a company about the AI system. It's one of those things that hopefully will start setting us apart a lot from the other games that are out there because we have a real company that's working on a professional grade solution that's going to be coming in. And all they've asked us is just not to reveal their name yet, but they're going to do an announcement when they're ready and release videos showing their new AI system being working and in the game and all of that. And I think they're going to be at the Game Developers Conference, which is about in a month in San Francisco, and we'll be there as well. And so I'm sure they'll be showing it off at the Game Developers Conference as well. So the AI system will be definitely a differentiator between our game and others here shortly, which will be fun. It's always fun to have a little bit better AI in a game. And then let me put up another screen. I want to load up the BR map really fast. And I'll talk about the BR a little bit while this is loading. So this will take me a minute or so to get this up and running. So just hold on a second here. I know BR is one of those things where there's some people that don't want us to do a BR, Battle Royale version of the game. I shouldn't say version of the game. We're not going to release a different version of the game. Let me be clear on that. We're not going to go down that road. But it'll be more like a mod or a game rule essentially. Just kind of a different way to play. Yeah, I see people talking about BR already. So the one thing we're committed to is not having BR become more important than the survival part of the game. The people that have been around for quite a while know that we've been putting off doing the BR mode for a long time. There's been people who've been interested in it. We've been working on this map. I think it was originally made maybe even almost a year ago, perhaps. It's been around a long time. But BR is definitely a low priority for us. So let me just kind of state that to start with. It's something that we just kind of work on now and then, but I would dare say 98% of our time is working on the survival game easily at this point. This is something Mark has just been kind of doing. And one of the reasons we haven't been worrying about BR is there's a lot of features in the game we want to add to both the base game and the BR game as well. For example, the prone system. We want to have a prone system that's functional in the base game, and it'd be nice to also have that in a BR game. And so there's a lot of these features that we've been kind of working on that we want to have for BR as well. So BR is just kind of one of these things that's on the back burner. It's just kind of waiting. And when we get to the point where we think the game's far enough along, the survival game's far enough along, and the features are there that we want, then we'll probably look at rolling out the BR mode at that point. But all right, so I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the map currently. I think this was done in World Machine. You can kind of see all the little river-looking delta things here. I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but kind of fly around. So it's a 2 kilometer by 2 kilometer map, I believe, is the current size of this one. And some of this we'll adjust. We'll probably definitely have to add some more little neighborhoods and so on for kind of loot and stuff. So a lot of this will come back based on play testing of how it's going to, change over time. And I believe there's even a Hunger Games style starting point here somewhere. Yeah, here we go. Hunger Games style starting point. So I don't know if we'll use this or not. This is one of the things we've debated on is whether we want to go that route or not. Whether we want people starting a circle or just random spawn or parachute in or whatever. But uh, so like I mentioned, there's a lot of stuff with the BR mode that we just haven't really talked about and decided on a lot. So the people that hate BR, that's fine. I understand it. You don't like it. Just keep in mind that we will do this at some point, but it just isn't a priority right now. The survival game is definitely a priority still. So we're not gonna sacrifice the survival game to hurry and push a BR mode out, for example. The BR will come when it's ready and when we're ready for it. So okay, so that's kind of the BR. Like I said, people have asked about it. It's coming eventually, but no ETA at all. Just kind of whenever we're ready and good for it. Okay, let's see. Going through a little list here. I always make these little lists of features and things to talk about. So one of the things I would ask you guys to do, if you're enjoying Miscreated, please go and put a review on the Steam store as well, because those Steam reviews really help. Let's see. All right, Chris, anything I'm missing that you are aware of? If not, I'm gonna start answering some questions.
No, not really. There were some questions about some weather. I don't know if you're gonna talk about weather at all, but
Yeah, I'll definitely get to that while I go through these questions. So,
okay. Yeah,
I,
not that I can think of. I sent you a bunch of questions to your Skype if you want to look through there. So I sort of
okay,
aggregated some of the top questions that I saw whilst people
all
were
right.
typing in chat.
All right, yeah. So let me go start going through questions then, and feel free to keep asking questions. I'll just kind of stay around, almost as long as needed, just answering questions. And also, as part of this, if you want to see something else, like if you want to see, me shooting with the weapon in prone or something like that, just let me know, and I'll jump into game mode and show you a little bit more detail. If someone wants to see more detail on track IR or so on, just let me know. Just leave a comment, and I can definitely do more of a demonstration for some of those type of things. All right. So some of the questions here, I'm just going to go through the list that I have. This one's from Gobble Kirk on our forums. He says, "I'd love to hear what your plans are for the survival parts, disease, temperature, and how that whole stuff will work." So one of the things we've been waiting on is this whole networking item system. We want to add hunting to the game, be able to skin animals to the game, be able to kill AI and harvest stuff from animals in the game, and more of the survival aspects and the hunting aspects of the game. But all those things add items to the item count system in the game. So right now, if somebody kills some AI on the other side of the map and we have to spawn in items that mutant had in his inventory, the problem is that gets sent to everybody in the whole world, and it just adds more complexity and more overhead. So those type of things we've been waiting for this new relevant system. And so things like hunting will be coming in soon, campfires, cooking, all those type of things. A lot more crafting related stuff. Anything that basically requires more items or allows you to combine more items into more things, all those will be coming in with the new item system. We've just been really holding off on a lot of that stuff because we had to get the base system a lot more optimized first. And then as far as the temperature gauge actually works in the game right now, but it doesn't harm you in any way. The reason for that is there isn't a way to warm yourself up. So if you get too cold currently in the game, there isn't a campfire, for example, that you can light and warm your player back up. So that's why it's currently disabled, because we had people at one point that were getting cold and dying, and they didn't have any way of fixing it. So it's currently kind of disabled as far as for the effects of the temperature system, but that will all be coming back as well and be working. As far as for diseases, we've talked about a few different types of diseases. We have some in our game design document we've discussed, and we'll have some stuff like that come back in as well. But diseases, I think, will be a little bit further down the road, so I wouldn't expect those anytime soon. Let's see, this is from Mr. Fox. Will we be able to tie people up or handcuff them? Yes. We're going to have a whole incapacitation system we're going to be adding. Uh, so just assume on all this there's no ETA, so I'm just not saying that in every one. There's a lot of features we want to add to the game, but definitely anything that has to do with more player interactions we're going to be adding. For example, you'll be able to bandage other players. You'll be able to target other players in the game and have a little scroll wheel to bandage them and stuff like that. So things that allow you to interact with other players are a big part of this game that we want to add. And both things that will help other players and things that are detrimental to the other players, like tying them up and stealing their items and all those type of things as well will be coming in. He also asked about first-person servers. We definitely want to add first-person servers. And now that we have rented servers, I think would be a good time to actually get that working for you guys that have your own servers, so you can have your own first-person server if you want. Let's see. Large complex building plans. He's talking about prisons, sports arenas, malls, or something like that. I kind of touched on this earlier. So I showed you the police station, for example, it's a pretty big building. But in the bigger city, we actually have plans for other types of buildings. There's an airport up there that's like a normal airport with a massive terminal, for example, and some stuff like that. So we'll be adding more unique buildings as time goes on. And then this is by Kivy Knight. I pronounce if I'm slaughtering your guys' names. How is it to work with CryEngine? What are the challenges? Share your knowledge about the engine with other studios working on CryEngine. CryEngine, we love CryEngine as far there's every game engine is going to have good points and bad points to it. We love CryEngine because it's extremely efficient. And I know some people are not going to agree with me on that, but it is actually, for what we're pushing through it, is extremely efficient with how good the game is, how many textures and materials we're pushing through this thing. It runs really well. But it does require a semi-decent machine to run well. And so the visuals in the game, again, this is a little bit subjective, but I think it's the best looking survival game. There's definitely room for improvement that we can make and make things look even more realistic. But as far as for the visuals and the performance of CryEngine, we're very happy with it from that standpoint. It's very solid. The game engine itself doesn't really ever crash unless we do something wrong that causes it to crash. So the core system of CryEngine is extremely stable as well, which is really nice. But there are challenges. The animators have challenges with the animation system because it's a pretty complex and comprehensive animation system. So the animation system gives us challenges at times and so on. But as far as for sharing knowledge, if other game studios have questions, they need to send them to us. We've answered them. We are on the CryDev forums as well. So we post on there several times, and several of us are on there pretty regularly. And Chris is actually on one of the moderator teams for CryEngine as well. But yeah, so yeah, overall we're very happy with it. Let's see. Fallout asks, will there be broken bones, legs, arms, stuff like that? So this comes from my experience with playing the DayZ mod. I was a huge DayZ mod player. I kind of like the concept of having your body get damaged over time or from events in the game, but I am not a fan of the broken leg mechanic. And anybody that has played the DayZ mod had a broken leg and crawled for an hour in that game. That is not fun. Yeah. And the problem with that is it makes it sucks as a single player if you get a broken leg. Just being honest in that game, but so it's almost like you have to play as a team because if you get a broken leg, you might as well just kill yourself and start over because it just takes too long. So I think you'll see more health style systems come into play, but there won't be anything like a broken leg that keeps you from walking. Personal opinion, I think that just detracts from the gameplay too much.
Yep.
Let's see. Dominoes. I also wonder about flying vehicles. So flying vehicles we've discussed it for a long time. We're going to wait until the map is all done and just kind of see at that point if we want to add one. So I don't know. If we do add a flying vehicle, it would probably be a slower style vehicle. It wouldn't be like military jets or anything along those lines. But I think we'll just wait and see if we can justify one. It would be nice if we had a larger map, I'll be honest, for something like a flying vehicle. Let's see. He's also asking about will there be the normal AI we have now plus some Left 4 Dead style AI. So we're definitely going to add other types of AI to the game. Uh, we were talking with the AI company about adding specialized mutants, for example, in caves and bunkers and some of those type of places as well. So you'll definitely be seeing other types of AI come into play and probably some boss style AI as well. Uh, so yeah, there'll be more AI besides just kind of what we have now, which is almost like zombie style AI. And then John Dorian asked, "Will there be layered clothing?" Yes. In fact, we already have some layered clothing done. It's just we don't have the UI set up to handle it. If you know what the wasteland clothing is in the game, there's actually a jacket that goes over it as well. There's a t-shirt and a jacket combination. There are two different layers. The UI just isn't set up yet to handle that. But yes, there will be jackets as well in the game that goes over a shirt. Yep, so more layers. Let's see. Will there also be layered backpack? Like, can you add pockets to it or add pockets to the horseshoe backpack? This is something we've discussed a lot, and this is something I would love to do with the new item and relevant system since it's a lot more efficient. As far as for being able to, for example, attach a canteen to your backpack and so on, so you kind of have different levels or layers to your equipment. And I think this is definitely something we will investigate and look into and just see if we can do it. But we would love to do that, yes. And also more things on your player as well. Like around your belt area and a few things like that. If you look at the UI, let me go into the game mode here. If you look at the player's UI, there are these grayed out boxes here on the sides. I think it's picking up my track IR a little bit. So some of these are for other slots that we still want to add to the base player that just aren't set up yet. And one of these is a jacket. A couple of these are for the thighs and forearms, and a couple of them are for the shoulders as well. So that's definitely stuff we want to add is more stuff to the player, dress them up, make them look more custom, and other places to hold your equipment as well. Yep. So those will be coming in. Let's see. Will the clan be able to move around stuff while there is another clan member nearby? I think you're asking about the message, another player too close message. So with the new relevant system, that is already better. The current system that's implemented right now is already better. And we want to add it eventually so it goes completely away. But right now, the system that's being tested is already better in that regards. So yeah, you'll see less of that over time. So you can move stuff around and so on. Eventually, what we'd like to do is have it completely synchronized, so two people can access a chest, for example, at the same time, or a storage unit, or vehicle inventory, or so on at the same time, and they can both be taking stuff out and putting stuff in at the same time. That's the eventual goal, and all that just has to be synchronized. All right, and go. Will you ever consider adding a little bit of gore into the game? Yes. Right now, as people who have played the game know that one of the things we need to add is better hit detection. So when you shoot a player or you hit a player right now, it's hard to know if you hit them because there just isn't enough visual effects there. Both from a visual and from an audio perspective, and even probably an animation perspective. So we definitely want to add more in that regards. So both for the AI and some things that might be interesting to look at adding would be like a headshot and seeing a little bit more gibs and so on from that.
It's funny because some of those blood decals they work in the editor, but
Yeah,
not
they work.
in the not in the actual game.
Yeah, they work for us in single player mode. Some of them in the editor, but multiplayer, Crytek has them disabled, and we just have to re-enable them. So yeah, definitely on that. He asked about the prone stance. Well, you saw the prone stance. How will the new AI system work? I went through all the. I think I got. Yeah, so I've answered this one. So he's asked about deer, bear, wolves. We definitely want to add more aggressive animals and also more docile animals over time as well. Yep. What happened to the bikes? Thanks, Angela. Appreciate that one. Uh, so the issue with the bikes, we've released videos of the bikes. We've had people playtest the bikes. I'll probably even re-enable those on the experimental server when it's ready for the relevant system. The issue with the bikes is the physics of them. We're still not quite happy with the physics. for example, there'll be times with the bike where your wheels will sink into the ground, and then the bike's gonna get stuck, and we're just not gonna release them until they're ready. So it's the physics standpoint. We just need to go back and revisit and fix the physics on the bikes. But the model's all done, the animations are all done, the handlebar turns, and all those type of things. So it's a matter of just getting the physics working better. But yeah, the bicycles will definitely be in the game. It's just we have a lot of things on our list. Let's see. What's the ETA on the new character model? Well, there it is. I showed you that one. Reloading your gun. Yes. You will be able to reload your gun by pressing R.
Yay.
So, yes, that will be coming in. He's also asking about unloading bullets from magazine. Yes. I'm not sure if those will be in at the start of the new item system or not, but you'll definitely be able to strip magazines of bullets and combine them and all of that. Yes. So with the new item system, that's one of the things I was kind of alluding to earlier. Anything that adds more items like piles of rounds and all that stuff, we're just waiting on all that for this new item system. And so yeah, you'll be able to remove ammo and combine magazines and all that stuff eventually. Yep. Are there any plans on updating the current UI of the game? We know it needs to be updated, and I dare say we will